Hello everybody and welcome to the November 14th, 2019 Helm Developer Call. I'm Scott Rigby, I'll be your host for this week. So let's start off with announcements. I don't know whose these are, so I'll just let whoever put them on call it out.
All right, well, the top one is me. I put on there that we have no meeting next week. Just as a friendly reminder, there's a big old conference going on that some folks are going to, and so we always cancel when that happens. So I'm putting it on there, and that was all I had.
I want to cancel the week after since all of the U.S.-based people will be on Thanksgiving, and that would leave like 2 people here. Because the Canadians are weird and celebrate Thanksgiving early, so Fisher will be here, and then just kidding, Fisher, love you. And then I don't know if the Irish are celebrating Thanksgiving, but we'll probably have most of us out.
Yeah,
me and the Canadian are going to have a bit of fun.
That's a good point. I would love to announce the next one, but I feel like somebody else should take that, because it's such a cool thing.
Yeah, I can take that. So we've officially announced Helm 3.0. Woo! That was yesterday. So the blog post is up there. It's available. The release notes are all up there. And yeah, that's basically been the general sentiment from yesterday that Matt Butcher was talking about before recording. As well, I put this on here as well, was Helm 2.16.1 was also released, which also is a bug fix release for the 2.16. So that's also important for people who are still on Helm 2. So it's good to call that one out as well. And then the last thing that's on the announcements here that I threw on here, I just wanted to get a general list. Is anyone here doing a session for KubeCon? Are they doing a CNCF maintainers booth or a talk? So we can just point that out for other people who are interested.
I'm doing the maintainers booth. Maybe we should repost the sign-up sheet.
There's a couple of slots left. For sessions, I've got the Helm intro with Josh, and Martin and Taylor have the Helm 3 deep dive.
Do you know how big the rooms are this time around?
No idea, but we have about, last time I checked, like between 400 and 450 registered for our session. So assuming 40 to 50% return rate off of that, we're looking at around 200-ish people into our room. So hopefully it's big enough for that.
It's way bigger than that. The room for the intro, doing the normal whatever lecture style seating, is like 2,500, and the one for the deep dive, I gotta look that up again. I'd have to look it up again. It was for much larger than the number of people you even have signed up. I don't remember what the room size was, but it's much, much larger.
I believe.
I was just going to say they have over 11,000 people have signed up to attend this conference, which is the biggest so far, and a majority of them have not added anything to their schedules.
I believe CERN is also giving their Helm talk, a variation of the one from Helm Summit, which was amazing because they've been running Helm 2 and 3 in production in parallel. So that's a good one to go to.
I'm going to be talking to a bunch of analysts and media folks, I think almost every day. So I can definitely put Helm up front in those conversations.
Is anyone here doing a talk that isn't Helm, just like a talk?
I'm giving you rejects, but not at KubeCon.
I'm doing a Service Mesh Con talk on Service Mesh Interface.
I'm doing the SIGAPS intro.
I'm doing 2 brigade talks and one of the community panels.
So here's something we probably need to do, and I guess I could take this. We should take the Helm talks that we know about and turn them into a blog post on the Helm blog and put that out before the end of the week. I'll take that on.
Cool.
Oh, I also got asked to do an end user panel. This is at the end user summit the day before the conference, so when literally every other event is happening. But they wanted us to focus on like how to get end users more involved in the CNCF projects. So I'll talk about Helm stuff there too.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone, for sharing some information. Back to you, Scott.
Great. I think if there are no, well, I'm not sure if this falls under announcements, honestly. I just noticed that there's the reInvent coming up, right? And there was an email around for CNCF ambassadors, and specifically to the Helm group. Is that something that we should note as I suppose that could be a discussion item, but that reInvent is I guess that's an announcement. It's not really Helm specific, except for they're looking for people. So if anybody's going, maybe reply to that. Okay, I guess we're on to stand up. So maybe I'll start with Josh.
So mostly last week prep for the talk. That's about it. That's really all I have besides just using Helm 3. Started using Helm 3 in the wild this week, which was awesome. Helm file actually already supported Helm 3, so there's literally no change in Helm file setups, which is amazing. Where should I go? Taylor.
I've mostly been really polishing up talks this week. I've been taking care of a few little Helm things here and there. Was just part of the crew making sure everything was polished and ready to go for docs and for a few other last minute small things that we had missed. So that's all. That was all I was doing this week, and I'm just going to be finishing up talks and doing KubeCon this next week. Let's see. Oh yes, Martin, you can go since you're making fun of my hat.
I don't want to surprise you here, but you're actually not wearing your hat today. Okay. Okay, I've had a fun week. I've nuked my laptop. I destroyed a Ubuntu server, lost VMs on the cloud, and I locked down my credit card. So I'm hoping I'm on a temporary laptop at the moment, and I'm hoping TSA will be nice to me going through customs when I enter the US. But apart from that, Helm 3 went out, yay. And I managed to, I did an update of the plugin as well to coincide with the GA. And apart from that, just tidying up talks. So I think myself and Taylor are well set now. And yeah, hopefully make it over to US safe and sound, and yeah, get through customs. So yeah, I will hand over to Matt Fisher.
So for me this week, I've been basically, for the most part, I have been looking at the issue queue and making sure that there hasn't been any major regressions or anything as we're going into different releases. So I've been kind of like doing the release management for Helm 3. So every time an RC would come out, checking, making sure that issues were going in. If there was any issues, making sure that they weren't like a showstopper or things that they needed to be addressed into the next release candidate. And then as well, with Matt Freda's help, the two of us were getting the release out yesterday morning. And then last night, or the night before actually, Matt Butcher and Taylor was helping out a little bit, and Ronan was also did a lot of the work to move the helm.sh site over from Helm 2 to Helm 3. So now when you go to helm.sh/docs, you now see the Helm 3 documentation by default. So that was all being migrated over and making sure that that migration was over. And thank you, Martin and Matt Farina as well. First thing in the morning, day one, to find that issue with the Go imports. I think that was the only big thing that ever happened throughout the whole infrastructure re-architecture and the release of Helm 3 that we needed to fix up quickly. And the end result was fantastic. I was able to just sit down and look at Twitter and make sure that everything was going good. So yeah, well done, team. That was fantastic. So for me this week, it's going to be more or less kind of relaxing a little bit, actually. I'm going to take a well-deserved break and I'm going to relax for a little bit. Check and make sure that there's no game breakers and whatnot for Helm 3, but I'm going to be taking a little bit of time just to do some research and do some fun time. So that's for me this week. Let's go, Adam.
Hey everybody, sorry for being late. School drop-off was a little more intense this morning. Butcher brought up something that we might have missed from the proposal this morning, which is around managed hooks. So I'm looking into that. Unfortunately, I think it might be a big change and a breaking change. So I'm going to be looking into that today. And probably create an issue and decide whether we want to go ahead with that or not, because we're going to have to change the storage layer. We're going to have to change upgrades and change how deletes are processed with that if hooks are involved. So I'm going to look into that today and then probably post something, and then we can decide what we want to do with that. Let's see, Butcher, you want to go?
So my last big contribution to Helm 3 was just working on documentation. So I tried to get through a whole bunch of the documentation stuff earlier this week, and then proofread and help on blog postings and tweets and things like that. Thank you all, by the way. I mean, it's usually when you have a small team that is all in the exact same physical location, pulling off a good release is hard. And here we got a very large team spread out across the globe that managed to get a release out not on time, but an hour early. So that was pretty epic. I'm deeply impressed by the work you guys did for this. So that's going forward this week. I will be prepping for KubeCon kinds of things for probably the rest of the week, and then we'll be at KubeCon next week. So I anticipate that I won't probably do much more than help people keep on top of the issue queue and answer questions here and there. Josh, did you go? Are we? Who's left? Karina. I missed a Matt. Oh, that's a cardinal sin right there.
Oh, it was pretty easy. I just I got the blog post out and got finished off running out the governance stuff to make community management an official thing. And got a blog post out about Karen and that. She's been doing a wonderful job for a very long time, and so it's good to make it official and get it recognized. Then I helped, I got 2.16.1 out, and I helped Matt Fisher get 3.0 out. And then I've been working on conference slides. So that takes a lot of time to do conference slides, and I forgot how much time I'm spending on slides. And so that's been about my time. Oh, and triaging hub.helm.sh, because the week before any conference, and even right when the conference happens, people start throwing up all kinds of new things on there. And so just staying on top of that. Is there anybody else? Oh, Jacob.
Oh, right. Also.
I don't have anything for stand-up.
Cool. And I had bucked protocol by not starting with myself. So I kind of threw the game. But wait, sorry, was that all, Jacob? I didn't.
Yeah, I don't have any updates.
Okay, cool. This last week, I had, right before everyone else worked really hard on the Helm 3 release, I connected with Fisher and Adnan and a few of the other charts maintainers to try to really solidify our Helm charts repo stable and incubator deprecation policy. So we're going to do that, and I guess that didn't in the end make it out into the announcement because I suppose it wasn't really necessary, but we will make sure that that's communicated properly in the charts repo so everybody knows what's up. And just so in case it's everyone else didn't hear, the idea is we're going to try to follow the Helm 2 policy as much as possible and keep it simple. So for the next 6 months, starting yesterday, we'll be, just continuing to accept PRs, but no new charts. And then after, so bug fixes, whatever, we're not going to try to control whether it's bug/security fixes, because as Matt and others pointed out, we have owners files for each chart, and then it would just be kind of like an attempt at controlling individual chart maintainers, and that would be really weird. But basically, after that 6-month period, Hub is going to delist the stable and incubator repos. So folks have got 6 months to move their charts elsewhere and work with us to do that, or do it on their own. Otherwise, they'll be delisted from that. They can still be used for the next 6 months, but then at that time, when V2 is out, we'll then mark that Git repo deprecated. So, and the other thing I said from last week is I said I would work on the CRDs for community charts. I have been doing that with some of the other chart maintainers, individual chart maintainers, that is, and some have done it on their own, and others are just starting, and there are still a few left, so that's in progress. But Cert Manager already had that in progress. They just, a release is going to be cut at the end of this week with the CRDs directory, so that's nice. And then Prometheus Operator, another one that's kind of big in the charts repo that has, managed CRDs, has already updated. So, and that's been pretty battle tested so far, and there are only a few more, so in progress. Oh, okay, I guess that's me. I think if that's us, are there any other non-core maintainers that wanted to give a status update for the week? I'm hearing no. Oh, also, just in case you're not following the chat, the reInvent note that I mentioned earlier, I posted the info for that email in case anybody is going in the Zoom chat. I think we're on discussion. Whose topic is the Helm import one?
That's me. So this is something we needed internally for migrating from all of our deployments that we're using kubectl apply or its equivalent from various other tools to Helm 3, because you error out as soon as you try to upgrade an installation if there are existing resources that are unmanaged by Helm. So I've written a tool internally that's pretty dumb. It just creates the Helm secret with the release manifest to track the release, and so Helm thinks it's safe. Just wondering if there's any interest in the community for that kind of tool. It's sort of the equivalent of the Helm 2 to 3 plugin. And if people have any thoughts on where that would ideally live.
Taylor, I know that is the Helm Commandeer stuff. Do you know who might have taken on ownership of that or have been working on something similar?
No one's taking that at all. I was just kind of started, never had the time to do it, never went back. I'm all for it if anyone wants to do it, and I can help review that, Jacob, if you're interested in doing it, because that commandeer thing is that's what we called it, because it's an able term and it sounds fun. But where you can go capture those resources and turn them into a release. And I'd actually guess that it would probably be much easier to do now with Helm 3, because you're not having to worry about gRPC encoding or anything. You're just converting everything into a manifest and a release object with an empty values file. So I think it should.
What I did is like literally maybe 10 lines of code using Helm 3 as a library. So pretty straightforward. I do think it might make sense to actually have as a subcommand of Helm, because if you ever have a resource that you create manually, there will be use cases for importing existing resources into releases, kind of like Terraform import, if anyone's familiar with that.
I think, Jacob, my personal opinion on it and why I started it as a plugin is that I think it's better to go plugin than make it a mainline Helm feature. just so that we can test it out and work out any bugs and not end up with weird problems where we have to support a bad way that we accidentally did it or something. And so I think that's probably the best option. And you're completely welcome to, I can either just give you full access to the repo that I created for it, never went anywhere. You can create your own. And I'm totally willing to review it, go over it with you, whatever you need.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks.
I would make one suggestion. In your license, can you make it Apache 2? Because if we ever did want to pull it into the Helm org, it's going to need to either be relicensed to Apache 2 or already be in Apache 2. So if it was one of those things we wanted to pull in as a plugin or bring the code into Helm, starting with an Apache 2 place makes it a lot easier.
Got it.
Cool. Okay. The next question about, oh, actually, sorry, that question was mine. Yeah. So the earlier didn't put my name next to it. So the earlier comment that you made, Adam, about I had seen that too, about the hooks, supporting hooks. Does that have implications for existing charts and V2 compatibility?
Yes, it will. And that's the kind of stuff I'm going to be looking into today and tomorrow, probably. I'm going to do a deep dive into that and just see what changes would need to take place and what would be a migration path for that.
Gotcha. Okay. And is there a good way that I could stay in touch with you about that? Just because what I'm trying to do is, along with just as quickly as possible, try to help whatever we can do, at least in the community charts repo, get those used charts so when people basically get ahead of the curve for when we get a deluge of, hey, this doesn't work with Helm 3.
Yeah, I'll keep you in the loop.
Okay, thanks. Then the next discussion topic is Go modules.
This was just a quick thing I put on. So we had the thing for ORIS update that we're pushing back for 3.0. Is it an okay time to do that, to update modules?
Yeah, because it would go into 3.1 now.
Right.
Anything off of master has to be cherry picked into the release branch, and so that's an okay one to have merged now. Yeah.
Okay, that's all. I think we missed Michelle's stand up.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. I didn't really speak up. I have been prepping for KidCon and just prepping for talking to media and analysts. They tend to ask like an overview of the big features, and then they ask like how you compare things and how different things in the ecosystem play together. So it's a little bit of a different conversation than just talking about Helm 3. So I'm just preparing for those kinds of things. I'll be at the booth. I've been prepping demos, and yeah, I don't, nothing else. Congratulations. This is an amazing, amazing milestone. Like, everybody's so excited about Helm 3. I've been doing an awesome job. And even with the criticism, like Fisher and Farina have been doing such a great job with like answering to like really difficult people. So yeah, just like, I'm super happy about it. Congratulations, great job. I'm really excited. That's all. Yeah, seal clap. And if anybody needs help with like anything like slides or whatever, like feel free to reach out to me if you want to do a dry run or something. I'm happy to be available.
Scott, you're on mute.
Yep.
Thank you. Just looking over the notes, not hearing anything else, but were there any other discussion topics someone wanted to raise that they maybe didn't have access to the docs sheet or didn't write it down yet? Sounding like a no. Okay. Then I think we're on to assignments. Who wants to do notes?
And no stand up next week, right?
Or the
right.
next 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks. So we're looking for
Right,
3 weeks
so-
out.
Should we do a 3-week out assignment, or should we just wait? Let's do it, right?
I can moderate in 3 weeks' time.
I can do notes in 3 weeks' time.
There we go.
I'll be out in 3 weeks' time, so I won't be here. I'm taking a vacation from my vacation that next week.
Ooh, nice. Okay, well, thanks everybody, and I will see most of you in person next week. I'm looking forward to that.
Woohoo!
All right, see you then. Bye.